let's talk about menopause and blood pressure. Is there actually a connection? Well, we're going to talk about the science, and then we're going to talk about what you can do to actually improve your blood pressure with a special free guide. By the way, guys, I created a hypertension management protocol. If you guys like my cholesterol lowering protocol, you're going to love this even more. The link is below. And also, don't forget, I also have the free Master Menopause and Feel Fabulous webinar, which is also below, where you learn the top 3 mistakes when making menopause and the 5-step blueprint to feel fabulous during menopause. So those 2 resources are below, completely free. But let's dive in today's research and talk about, really, is there an actual evidence showing that postmenopause or menopause is worsening hypertension? Well, I think you're going to be shocked at some of the numbers. Let me pull them up here. First of all, hypertension is absolutely a significant health issue for postmenopausal women. And I would say even as you're entering into menopause, as you're walking out of menopause as well, that you're going to be at risk. Did you know that 75% of postmenopausal women in the U.S. experience elevated blood pressure? So that means that 75% of women who are past probably the age, let's say 55, have high blood pressure. That is basically, you see 4 women walking down the street, and if they're older than 55, like I said, 3 of them will have blood pressure issues. So crazy. This really does come from, there's a heightened prevalence results from the hormonal changes, especially as, of course, we see the decline in estrogen, which contributes to what we call vascular stiffening and increased cardiovascular risk. Moreover, postmenopausal hypertension tends to coincide with other cardiovascular risk factors, such as obesity, metabolic syndrome, where you become insulin resistant. And then that over time can lead to more severe outcomes, including heart attacks and strokes. So given those challenges, it's really important that we try to manage, through lifestyle changes and nutritional strategies that will help improve the health outcomes. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the 3 things that are occurring in menopause that can impact hypertension. First of all, you have, of course, those hormonal changes in hypertension. When you see that reduction of estrogen during menopause, again, that leads to less what we call vasodilation, where the blood vessels don't dilate or get big enough. And that, again, leads to that greater arterial stiffness. And remember, the arteries are what's taking the blood away from the heart. And then that contributes to higher blood pressure. That changes partly explains why postmenopausal women are more prone to hypertension than premenopausal women. And next is the prevalence of hypertension, right? So as we age, we face a 2-fold increase in hypertension risk. While men generally experience more hypertension at younger ages, postmenopausal women will surpass men in hypertension prevalence, making early intervention critical. And then 3 is the role of stress and lifestyle, right? So there's menopause-related stress combined with physical changes such as the weight gain, which we talk about all the time around the belly, really exacerbates hypertension and increases risk again for those, not only hypertension, but the other cardiovascular risk factors, higher cholesterol and different things, increased inflammation, that all create a perfect storm that can lead to the risk of heart attack and stroke. So what do we do? Let's talk about the actual protocol that I put together for you based on the research, and all the references and everything are going to be listed in the handout that you can get down below in the link. So first of all, we're going to talk about plants, because plants help manage blood pressure very well. We're going to talk about, I think there's 6, we'll talk about 6 different things here. Number 1 is magnesium. 300 to 500 milligrams daily. What this does, magnesium relaxes blood vessels and improves your circulation. So you could do, for example, 1 cup of cooked spinach, that's about 157 milligrams, a quarter cup of pumpkin seed, that's 190. And the benefit, again, you'll reduce not only the top, but the lower number of blood pressure, what we call the systolic and diastolic blood pressure. And number 2 is potassium, right? You want to aim for around 2,600 to 3,400 milligrams daily. And what potassium does is kind of cool. It balances sodium levels and helps relax blood vessels. That's why using miso paste, for example, even though it's a little higher sodium, it comes from soy, which is high in potassium, so which can help balance that out. So you may not see the same effects by eating a higher sodium thing like miso, soy miso. like you might see in some other different type of products. What can you do to get this? Well, one medium sweet potato will have around 540 milligrams, half an avocado, 354 milligrams. And again, the benefit is you get, you control the blood pressure by counteracting sodium, because where sodium goes, water flows. So that's where you get that increased intravascular volume, which will cause an increased risk of or higher blood pressure. Next is omega-3 fatty acids, up to 500 milligrams daily. Again, omega-3s will decrease inflammation and enhance blood vessel function. So the sources that I recommend are probably going to be supplements, but you can make sure, of course, you're getting plenty of ground flaxseed, walnuts. These are the plant-based ALA. The algae oil supplements, you can take around 250, 350 milligrams of the EPA DHA daily. Those are the longer chain omegas that your body will convert that ALA, be it a very small amount, into those longer chain omegas. Again, you get increased or improved what we call endothelial function, which is, again, those little lining inside your arteries that release nitric oxide that dilate blood vessels, thus lowering the blood pressure. In addition to that, you get the coenzyme CoQ10, right? So it's 100 to 200 milligrams daily. That will help support energy production and vascular health. Again, this will reduce blood pressure in hypertensive individuals. When you look at the data, each supplement form is around 100 to 200 milligrams. Many times people who are taking statins may also take this. You can also want to think about L-arginine. It promotes nitric oxide production that really enhances vasodilation. Sources include 1 cup of soybeans, again, that quarter cup of pumpkin seeds, and again, improves circulation, lowers blood pressure. Garlic, right, also boosts nitric oxide and relaxes blood vessels. You can do aged garlic extract or just throw like 1 clove of garlic daily in your meals. That can lower systolic and diastolic blood pressure. And then when you look at the other things that you can do, you want to look at maybe beetroot juice, right? So what beets do, they're rich in nitrates, which convert into nitric oxide, and that helps relax blood vessels. You'd want to drink around 1 cup, 250 milliliters of beetroot juice, which provides that 250 to 300 milligrams of nitrates. Again, helps in particular people who have high blood pressure already. And then let's talk about hibiscus tea, 1 to 3 cups daily. And it actually acts as a natural diuretic, and that helps relax the blood vessels, and then lowering the blood pressure. So what you do is you brew 1 to 2 cups of hibiscus tea from the dried hibiscus flowers, and then you can consume that throughout the day, typically with meals. So you can see on average a 10-point drop in blood pressure. So again, I wanted to highlight as well before we keep going that you want to make sure you speak to your doctor before encompassing or taking in any of these things, just because I don't know what medications you're on. This is not medical advice. This is just education and highlighting for you the importance of certain foods and potential supplements that you might want to consider if you've been struggling to get that blood pressure down. And then finally, I would say vitamin D as well. It helps regulate what we call the renin-angiotensin system, which is part of the kidneys, again, which helps control blood pressure, and might be needed if you're testing low, if you're, let's say, below 30 on your blood test. Anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000, most of the time 2,000 international units is what most people will need. In addition to that, we want to pay attention to checking your blood pressure accurately, right? So how do you measure it? Well, you want to check it probably twice a day, and definitely before you take medications, again, because if you're making these changes, encompassing or embracing a whole food plant-based diet, you're exercising, losing weight, you're going to need less medication. So taking it beforehand will tell you if it's low. So let's say that before your blood pressure was running in the 140s and now it's like running under 120 before medications. You might want to hold your medication and talk to your doctor and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing on my blood pressure before I take medications. Do I need to stop or decrease medications? And then if you take it towards the evening, now you've gone through all day, you've eaten, and there'll be different blood pressures for morning versus evening. So it's important to compare those two. The other time that's important to check your blood pressure is 1 hour after taking medications. So now you give them the chance for the medication to start taking effect, and you can see if your blood pressure is too low while you're on medication. The other time I would say is if you're feeling dizzy or you had a lot of energy and now you're very fatigued. Those are really important to understand. Those can be signs and symptoms of low blood pressure or hypotension. We are not taught how to lower or deprescribe medications in the United States in medical school, and probably not anywhere in the world. So it's an art as well as a science. So I typically tell my patients is you want to be looking for blood pressures consistently under 120 over 80. You want to be below that for at least 3 days, maybe 4, before you start thinking this might be a good chance for you to lower medications, or unless you're symptomatic. Another piece I just want to highlight, if you encourage someone else to join this journey with you, if they're on blood pressure medications, please alert them to the concerns about having too much medication and causing low blood pressure. This can be very harmful. Someone could pass out, could hurt themselves, or die. So please, really, really, really important to understand this is serious business when you start doing things and you get well. Some people get well very quickly. Some might take a little longer. There's no right or wrong way to do this, but just be very, very careful. Some people ask, how should you check your blood pressure? I'd make sure you haven't eaten for at least half an hour. You want to sit quietly for about 5 minutes before measuring. Sit with the blood pressure cuff on your upper arm. That's better. But if you are struggling to have one fit, you can certainly use the forearm if necessary. Make sure your arm is resting at heart level. On a table is fine. You can do 3 readings about a minute or 2 apart and then average those. That would be very helpful to understand where you're at. And then again, jot these down in your phone or write them down so you can keep a log of where you are. You might also want to take any notes about, I was really stressed, or I didn't get much sleep, or I did do this protocol, or I added this, or I did that. It's just important to understand what's the story of that blood pressure. So what would be a sample routine? First of all, in the morning, maybe let's say you take, let's say half a banana, you get some potassium, you get some beetroot juice, you got your CoQ10 and your omegas. At lunch, maybe you have a salad with spinach and some pumpkin seeds and avocados. So now you get your magnesium and your potassium and your L-arginine. And then in the afternoon, maybe having a cup of hibiscus tea, and you take your vitamin D supplement with a snack or something. In the evening, you have another cup of hibiscus tea, or you might want to do hibiscus tea in the morning, maybe, given that that's a natural diuretic. And maybe you include your garlic over the course of the day, or maybe in one meal. That would be great. Just some ideas there for you how to incorporate these foods and different supplements, if you choose to, that might be beneficial for you. Again, always, always, always speak to your doctor to make sure it's safe for you and what you're going to be consuming. Again, and then paying attention to those numbers. So the links are below for the free guide, and also the free, completely free Master Menopause and Feel Fabulous webinar, and I hope you enjoy it. So I hope that's everything, and everyone have a great rest of your day. As always, I'm grateful and sending you joy, love, and happiness and healing, because we all need more of that in our lives and in this world. So have a good one, everyone.